Okay, listen. Let me be honest with you for a second. Have you ever sat down to do something important, like really important, life fixing important, and somehow, 10 minutes later, you are watching a video titled, Man Builds a House Using Only Spoons? Why are we like this? I sat down today fully prepared to be productive. I had motivation, I had coffee, I had that serious face people make when they are about to change their life. I opened my laptop, cracked my knuckles, and immediately checked my phone. Just for 1 minute, which turned into 20, which turned into me questioning my entire existence. Suddenly, I am behind in life. Again. This is usually the moment I start negotiating with myself. Okay, if I start in 5 minutes, I am still a good person. If I start tomorrow morning, I am disciplined. If I do nothing today, well, I am officially a failure. That word shows up fast, failure. Not because I actually failed, but because I imagined a version of myself who did everything perfectly, and I did not live up to that imaginary superhero. I love how dramatic my brain is. One unfinished task, and suddenly it is, this is why you will never succeed. Calm down, it is just laundry. I scroll, I avoid, I stare at the wall like it owes me answers. My brain says, you are wasting your life. My body says, sit down, do nothing, feel bad about it. Perfect system. I start comparing myself to people I do not know, people online who wake up at 5, drink green juice, and somehow have their life together. Meanwhile, I am celebrating replying one email. I tell myself, Emmanuel, you need to get serious. I say my name like a disappointed coach. Then I try again. I open the document, type 2 words, get tired. Reward myself with another distraction. At this point, I have not failed, but I feel like I have. And that is the weird part. Nothing terrible happened. No disaster, no explosion. Just me, sitting there, feeling like I let everyone down, including people who are not even in the room. And the day has barely started. Now it gets worse. Because once I feel like a failure, I start acting like one. Not on purpose, but subconsciously, I think. Well, the day is already ruined. Which is funny because it is 11:17 a.m. But in my head, the vibes are gone. The momentum is dead. Call it off. So I do what any responsible adult does. I double down on avoidance. I clean things that do not need cleaning. I reorganize files I will never open again. I suddenly care deeply about the alignment of objects on my desk. Anything except the thing. Then the self-talk shows up. You always do this. Everyone else handles life better than you. You try, but not hard enough. You start strong, then disappear. Wow. Thank you, inner voice. Very supportive. I imagine explaining myself to someone. Anyone, I would say. I tried today. I really did. And I imagine them replying, yeah, but look at the results. And that imaginary disappointment hurts more than real criticism. That is when I realize something weird. I am not afraid of failing. I am afraid of trying and still being average. Of putting in effort and getting normal results. Because at least if I do nothing, I have an excuse. But if I try, and it still does not work, what then? So I hesitate. I stall. I pretend I do not care. But I care too much. I want to be proud of myself. I want to feel like I am moving forward. I want effort to feel rewarding. Instead, it feels like I am constantly auditioning for my own approval, and I am a very harsh judge. I notice how I measure my days, not by how present I was or how kind I was to myself, but by output. Did I do enough? Did I maximize the day? If not, straight to failure jail. No warning. I look around and realize most people are just figuring it out. Some are louder, some are quieter. Some look confident but are also winging it. But my brain refuses to accept that. It wants perfection or shame. No middle ground. And the craziest part? From the outside, I look fine. From the inside, I feel like I am constantly behind an invisible schedule. late to a life event no one announced. And that pressure never shuts up. At some point, usually late at night, when the noise finally slows down, I realize how ridiculous this has become. I am not being chased. No one is counting my mistakes. There is no scoreboard. It is just me, yelling at myself in my own head. I think about how extreme my thinking is. If I do everything, I am acceptable. If I do not, I am a failure. No in between, no grace, no context. That is wild. I would never treat a friend like this. If they told me they tried, I would say, that counts. If they said they were tired, I would understand. But with myself, I expect superhuman consistency. I want focus without fatigue, growth without discomfort, success without self-doubt. Completely reasonable, very realistic. I laugh at myself because the truth is, most days are not dramatic. They are messy, half-finished, unimpressive. And that is normal. Trying is not supposed to feel like a movie montage. Sometimes it feels boring, sometimes frustrating, sometimes invisible. But it is still trying. I start to see the pattern. The problem is not that I fail. It is that I turn every imperfect day into an identity. I am not someone who failed today. I become a failure. That jump is the real issue. Once I notice it, I cannot unsee it. So I try something new. When the voice says, "You did not do enough," I reply, "Maybe, but I showed up." When it says, "You are behind," I ask, "Behind who?" And suddenly, the pressure loosens a little. Not gone, just quieter. I realize something important. Feeling like a failure does not mean I am one. It usually means I expected too much from a human day. I still procrastinate, I still get distracted, I still negotiate with myself at midnight. But now I catch the exaggeration. I smile at it. Because if trying and struggling means I am failing, then almost everyone is a failure. And that cannot be true. So maybe, just maybe, trying counts more than my brain wants to admit. And maybe I am not behind. I am just learning in public, even when no one is watching. If this sounded uncomfortably familiar, if you have ever tried and still felt like you failed, I want to know. What is one thing you are hard on yourself about right now? Drop it in the comments. You might realize you are not alone.